We're back.
We're live, and one of us is a pro fighter now.
Actually, both of us are pro fighters.
No, I'm retired.
Well, yeah, but you are a pro. You have a pro record.
No, the past is the past. We're talking about the present, the future, the now, and you are a pro fighter.
Yeah, long time coming.
You just had to pay $12,000 to do it.
Jesus Christ, what an experience! Not one I'll do again. Make it a lot easier on myself.
You ran camp. You couldn't find fights. So you went to your manager's show, paid for your own ticket, plural tickets, my ticket as well.
And yeah, tickets.
Like just, you're out. So we always joke Kamuela, producer Kamuela, he made nothing for his pro debut. Like I think it was like $300. Everybody has made more than him for his pro debut. And even you, for your pay, you got more. But when you calculate all the costs,
you're way in the hole. Yeah, I mean, honestly, so like not to like throw my management under the bus, but honestly, it's part of doing better. It's constructive criticism. Maybe I shouldn't do it on a podcast with 3,000 people, but look, at the end of the day, I told him I would take less for the fight if they could get me an opponent, and because he wanted to get paid more. So I said, fine, as long as he accepts the fight, I'll take less. He can have more, but get me on the card. My opponent dropped out. I got a new opponent, but they kept me at the same pay as what I agreed upon for the other guy for probably a way tougher fight than what it was going to be. I had to pay for my own airfare. And honestly, they really fumbled the bag. And the reason that I say that, not just my management, but the promotion in general, every post of mine had the most likes of anybody else. All my stuff got way more engagement. My fight was easily the most dominant fight. Everybody else was going life or death with tomato cans. I finished mine in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
The main event or the co-main event had a UFC vet or tough vet.
Yep.
Fight a guy who I think was 6-11.
Yeah.
And
he got dropped 3 times, two
brutal,
times.
Bloody murder.
And then got a Hail Mary guillotine submission in the last round to win the fight he was probably going to lose. And they gave him the submission bonus over me, who hit a choke. By the way, if you guys go watch that fight, I don't even know what that choke is. I don't know if it's been done before. It's like a weird shoulder.
It's like a front rear naked choke, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a rear naked choke, but not like a power guillotine.
No.
Like from the side as they're angled.
Shoulder pressure is some shit that I've done because my hand's all messed up. So it's a unique submission. No one's ever really done that before. Honestly, it was pretty cool.
Going back to your hand being messed up, it's almost like they say when you go blind, your hearing gets really good.
Yeah.
That's like you. It's like you only were able to do that because you don't have a hand.
My little crab hand. I had to figure out other ways.
If you had 2 hands, you wouldn't be able to make up your own move such as you did. But humans, we adapt.
Yeah. So it just was interesting. Like, my management didn't really make me feel special. And I'm like, I'm literally here for you guys. I walked out first. I didn't get paid.
You're in the blue corner.
I was in the blue corner, walking out. I'm sorry. Walking out first.
Yeah. I think you were the only blue corner to win all night.
Yeah.
You might have been. I think you might have been.
There was one other guy, and it was a huge upset. Ty Johnson, he won too. But yeah, it just was interesting. I didn't feel special, and I was like, man, I'm supposed to be your guy's guy, and I don't feel special, which didn't matter to me. We're there to go fight. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, my fight, I posted it on Twitter, got 32,000 views. Everything was getting tons of numbers. Made weight. Did everything awesome. And so I appreciate you coming out because I know you had a pretty big schedule. You didn't sleep for like 3 days. And then the weight cut was easy. I was nervous, the whole time. I'm shitting bricks.
Nervous the fight or the weight cut?
Never the fight. Well, actually not true, but usually never the fight, always the weight cut because, right now, first of all, I am fat as fuck. Not only did I balloon up like in really quickly, but I'm like the heaviest I've ever been in my entire life right now. I'm 158 pounds right now. I've never been that heavy except for one time in my life.
A week ago, you weigh in at 126.
Oh yeah. A week ago. 3 days I was 155. That's insane. But the whole process, I'm nervous. I'm like, man, it's fight week and I'm 140 pounds still. I got 14 pounds to go. I'm shredded out. Like I couldn't be skinnier. And I'm like, man, how's this going to happen? How's this going to happen? And you start water loading, right? So you're gaining 8 pounds of a gallon and then some. And you're just freaking out every day. And I think the day of the weight cut, we went into to cut weight at the WAC. I'll give them a good shout out. They're very good to us. And I started the cut at 138 pounds. No water loaded, but I was 138. And I'm like, man, 12 pounds in a day and a half, this is going to be something. But my body responded super, super well, made weight, honestly, pretty easily. I hadn't fought in a year and a half. And so the cut before that, I couldn't stand up straight. My back was so strained from the weight cut. I couldn't stand up straight. I felt like a zombie. This one, I was shadow boxing like until we went to the weigh-ins. I felt great. The cut was easy. The reload was pretty easy too. I mean, it was good. Like I said, I got really heavy. And then interesting just for the fight, like this was the first time I didn't really feel that nervous. And I think I told you, I turned around and I was like, I don't know whether to be scared or like all good, because every other thing I've been nervous for, like so nervous. And every time I haven't been nervous, I've lost. But I was like, this time I just feel like I'm such a dog and I put in so much work. Like I'm just here to go do this mission and then leave. And so it wasn't really a big thing. And then when I got in the cage, I'm like, no, like this guy, this is it. Like I'm going to kill this guy. And he wouldn't look at me. And I was like, no, he already knows.
Really meek opponent. Like he wouldn't make eye contact with you. He was super like shy, like we're like awkwardly so.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like, dude, like look me, we're about to fight. Look me in the eye. Like,
yeah, like stare me down, be mean or something.
Let's do this.
When he wouldn't look at me. So I remember we were backstage and you go like, don't do dumb shit. You just, all you told me is like, don't do dumb shit. Keep your hands up, keep the frame. And then I remember going into the fight and the second he wouldn't look at me, I was like, oh, this is over.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's probably the toughest stylistic matchup for me if I'm thinking about it. This flyweight's 6'1". He's a huge flyweight. And, if I can't get takedowns on him and I'm forced to strike, like theoretically, that's a horrible matchup for me. These tall, lengthy, gangly guys and stuff like that. So I was super nervous. And I saw only like a 5-second clip of one of his fights and he just killed the guy, right? One punched him and then elbowed him into oblivion. So I'm like, all right, this is all I'm thinking about in my mind. And then, the fight starts and I feel him throw a couple punches at me. And I just went, oh, this guy can't hurt me. No matter what this guy does, he's not going to hurt me. And so then you see, I throw one leg kick and actually watching the fight, he was kind of like feinting checks, like he was going to check the leg kicks. I just found the timing, blasted the first one. And then I go, this guy's not going to hurt me. And then you just see my hands drop and I'm starting to put my chin out. Everything you said not to do. I'm like, all right, let's go, motherfucker. Let's go. And then I just start blasting his legs. And honestly, I didn't want to wrestle. Once I felt me hurting him with leg kicks, I was like, no, I told everybody I want to stop him with leg kicks. And I slipped. I don't know what happened. I think I was trying to like engage him again and I just fell over my own feet. And then he engaged the grappling. And I was like, man, bad mistake. I hit that high crotch takedown, which was super cool. And then the ground stuff, that's just my bread and butter. I put my head in their face, punch them a lot, give them a small opening, and then hit that cool choke.
Did you feel any difference? I don't know. People out there might be interested. So long ago for me, I don't even remember if I recall a difference. Do you remember leading up to the fight during camp, going from the mindset of an amateur to a pro? Was there a differentiator there? Or was it like, oh, whatever, this is just a fight, it doesn't matter? Or did you feel like, oh, this is different?
No, you actually, yes, 100%. And like you said, yours was so long. Did you actually fight amateur or you only went pro?
Mm-hmm. I had 7, 8, 9 amateur fights before I went pro.
Okay. Yeah, Bilal kept making comments about how many amateur fights I had, like almost making it a bad thing. And I'm like, I don't think that's a bad thing. And honestly, I'm proud of my amateur career because I've got to experience everything. I had quick finishes. I had decision wins. I had tough fights. I had easy fights. I had losses. I got to experience a full array of everything. And, Kamuela and I, we talk about that sometimes too, is almost he wishes he had more experience when it didn't matter. Just in little things, in the weight cut, in the preparation, wins, losses, everything. So that when you do go pro, like you've seen it all.
You know what to expect. That's a weird thing.
But yes, actually 100% I did. So, like I talked about a while ago, like I lost my job. So this is it for me now, is full time. And I just thought to myself, like, okay, I'm out here running every day and I'm doing 2 to 3 sessions a day. Like that's where it changed from I'm amateur to now I'm professional. And I'm just thinking of like every little thing, how it can benefit me, how it can make me better. And I went, this is what professionals are supposed to do. Every other fight that I've had before that, I never ran for a fight before, never lifted for a fight before. I would just be like, well, I feel pretty sound, but we're just going to go in there and fight. This is the first time I'm like, no, this right now is my job. For some reason, I just could randomly fight 5-minute rounds now. I was like, all right, cool. I'm pacing myself to fight 5 minutes at a time. So yeah, the mindset definitely switched. And it was just fun. That's maybe why I wasn't nervous, because I said I prepared for this like a professional. Now I'm going to go kill him like a professional, and it was just a lot of fun.
Well, good. Well, welcome to the club.
I'm a real boy.
You're a real boy, man. And so that's done. What do we got? I've got Kelvin coming up, fighting Kelvin Figueiredo this week. So I'm gone. We're getting this done early on Monday. So I'm out of here. We've got a couple fights on that.
What day are you leaving?
Wednesday.
Okay. Wait, really quick. One last thing about my fight. We talked about this a couple times, maybe before. So Bilal Muhammad was commentating my fight, and I had stumbled into him drunk in Vegas. I already tell this story on the podcast.
You might have, but
okay. Well, I mean, it's current because Sean Brady's fighting this weekend, obviously fighting Kelvin. So Christian Rodriguez, C-Rod, invited me to Vegas last year. I just broke my ankle, so I was in a boot and on crutches, hopping around Vegas. We got drunk. I made like 60 grand, just drunk as shit. And then we go see to the Fighter Hotel, and he introduces me to Bilal Muhammad. And this is how he does it. He goes, Bilal, and they're good friends from back in the day. Bilal, what's up? Hey, this is my friend Brandon. He bet against you when you fought Sean Brady. I'm like, dude, this is how you fucking introduce your friends. That's horrible. And so then I start talking to Bilal, and I'm telling him all this stuff. I was like, yeah, dude, I just won $1 million. Like, it's cool. This is how we did it. This is what's going on. And then a week later, he goes on to the Rogan podcast and snitches on me to everybody. And Rogan's like, no kidding. This is actually what happens. This is how they do it. And Bilal's like, yeah, man, this is what's going on. So I get to the hotel, and we're in Milwaukee, which, by the way, greatest city on earth.
100%.
Greatest city on earth. And Bilal walks in through the hotel, and he sees me, and I'm like, what's up, Bilal? How you doing? He goes, oh, it's you. And he goes, are you fighting? And I was like, yeah, I'm fighting tomorrow. He goes, dude, I thought you were too rich to be fighting. What the fuck you doing? And then just keeps walking. And I thought it was funny. And so we do the fighter meeting.
Rich people don't fight.
Yeah, rich people don't fight. That's why he's still fighting. No, I'm just kidding. So then we do like the fighter meeting, and all he can talk to me about is gambling. And I've never had odds on me before. And honestly, like, I don't know. It's tough in the gym. I feel like I looked way good in the fight. I don't look that good in the gym. So, and I was like, dude, I'm minus 800. That's just like an MMA Twitter thing. Everyone trying to support the boy. And I was like, dude, I don't think I can bet on myself, man. I feel good, but like not that good. Like that's a lot. And so Bilal made the entire fight, the whole commentary just about me gambling. he's like, yeah, he's a minus 800 for a reason. Like all he could talk about is fucking gambling. I'm like, Bilal, all right, man. And then they didn't give me the mic afterwards. I was going to call him out proper, be like, you want to snitch on me?
Do it right, yeah.
Yeah. So they fumbled the bag, not giving me the mic.
Next time they just won't even give you the fight.
I'm not getting a fight. They're gonna watch this back and be like, dude, we're never getting him a fight again.
Let's get into this card. Because this is actually there's some decent spots on this card. There's a lot of names, a lot of older people too, a lot of weird, good, the bad, the ugly,
entertaining
of everything. Yeah, very entertaining. You guys, before we get into all of this, please, if you haven't liked the video, please do so. Subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon, get all of our picks, the link is in the show notes. And I actually just posted something. I took it down because there was an error. I want to put it back up. But I had somebody run all of the analytics of every fight that took place in 2022 and 23, every UFC fight, and looked at every single odds on every single one. And we analyzed all of the odds in the winning percentage of winning odds and really winning percentage of underdog odds as well. Really goes through and you see the percentage of each category that wins and loses more often. And then I did something else, which I actually really liked. I analyzed it. If we were to put $100 down on each of the fights in each of the categories and each, like, so somebody was like minus 100 to minus 150, all of the fights that took place in there, if we were to put $100 down in each one of those fights with 2022 and 2023, how much money would you have now? And I broke that down, in the category as well. So check that out on the Patreon. I might actually end up doing something where we end up, if you sign up for the newsletter, I'll send that out or something as well, just to get just a lot of interesting information on it. Anything before we get going?
Yeah, rich people. Rich people out there. I know you're watching. We need some sponsors. Like we've been doing the show a long time. We used to have sponsors. If you guys want to sponsor the show, message us. Let's do some sponsorships.
Let's get it. I will run it to the end.
Yeah,
we'll promote.
We'll cut up some clips. We'll do some.
Let's chop it up.
what else did I had something else, but I don't know. We'll think of it later on.
We'll think of it at some point.
Let me cut another promo.
Okay, promo.
Which camera I do look at? All right. Guys, this one's going to be a little bit more subtle. Big bare knuckle event this weekend.
Actually, there's a really awesome bare knuckle event this weekend.
This event is really awesome. There's like 4 title fights. I'm looking at this card. I already know all these people. I think this is going to be a slam dunk weekend. I know last time I told you guys that it didn't end up being the moonshot, although our core picks always hit. You know, it's always pretty solid. But I think this week should be very good. We have bare knuckle, Fury, UFC Austin. I think this is going to be an awesome week. So it's $25 a month. You can cancel right after the weekend. I don't really care. But sign up, go make some money for Christmas, and we'll ride off into the sunset. All right.
UFC Austin, boys and girls. Boys and girl.
Girls don't watch this show.
Yeah, girls don't watch this show. Let's go. So I'm going to talk about this. Jamie Lynn Horth, Veronica Hardy is the first fight on the card.
Okay.
You know me, I'm always big on the women's MMA. I always like to break it down first. Always kind of picking up the slack when you don't want to break it down.
Yeah, I don't ever want to break it down.
So Jamie Lynn Horth, from memory.
You watch your Horth mouth.
We saw Horth with Haley Cowan. She came in short notice. Haley was supposed to fight 500 people 500 other times.
By the way, thank God she didn't fight Eileen Perez with that 15,000 I had down. Would have been rough.
And I think I remember telling you, I don't know that I would do that if I were you.
Now looking back.
I actually remember that. And you're like, I already put the bet in. And I was like, ugh. And then it got canceled because the fight got canceled. Was that not a gift or what?
I put the bet in with our sponsor, betonline.ag. Check them out. Use promo code.
So you got Jamie Lynn Horth, who's actually big. She fought at 35, a short notice fight, and now she's coming down to 125 to fight Veronica Hardy. Horth is not amazing anywhere. I didn't think that going into the Cowan fight. I thought she was kind of strong, but more than anything, she's tough. She's durable. She's not going to quit. She's not going to die on you. Her striking is, it's not great, but she will find some stuff. Like her technical attributes are not good. She doesn't bring her hands back. She's off balance. All of the stuff that you would like to see, she does not do. But she sees. I mean, she landed a couple really solid head kicks on Haley. Had a couple of really good 1-2s as well. So she's decent. Her cage wrestling is push you to the cage, and if I can hang on you and you fall, great. But if I have to actually do anything on a technical level, we're not getting there. And that's kind of her in a nutshell. She's tough. She's physical. Who did Hardy fight last? It was Juliana Miller.
Killer Miller, best teeth in the game.
Killer Miller. And she was a lot bigger than Hardy. And Horth is the same height, but actually has an inch of reach advantage over Miller as well. She's going to be long. She's going to be big. She's going to be physical. In men's MMA, that doesn't count as much, but in women's MMA, like that could almost be a thing. Then on the other side of that, you have Hardy. She took a couple of years off and she looks infinitely better. Her lateral movement is great. She will, if she circles to the right, she will pull her right hand back, right side back. So that's her power side. When she circles to the left, she will shift into a southpaw stance. Her in and out is great. Her striking is great. She mixes stuff well. Her volume is good. Her takedown defense has gotten really good. And I liked that when every time Miller would try to take her down, of course she would defend, but she would get her head underneath Miller's head. And she really fought that head position well. And she knew when to flail and when to fight. And when Miller would go to drag her down, Hardy had really good hips and would end up on top all of the time. She got thrown into a lot of submissions, but she defended all of them well. And outside of this just being a Horth, like grab you and I'm just way too big, I really like Hardy here. Over is probably going to hit. I don't see either of these two like really finishing each other, but I like the over 2.5, whatever the over is set. If you can do over 1.5, I mean, Bovada always has the small overs. Do it. It's almost free money. Over 2.5 is great. And I like Hardy for the win on this.
Okay. I kind of went back and forth and I actually put this play out. There's a few underdogs that I like on this card. At the time, Hardy was an underdog and I was a little confused because it's like, she's kind of the shiny new toy. That came back and looked amazing, you know, and looked so good. There's two things. One, I think she moves great. And we really didn't get to see a lot of her striking because Juliana Miller was just trying to hang so much. that we didn't really get to see that. We got to see a girl take advantage of another girl just constantly messing up and making mistakes. But we didn't get to really see like, all right, how does she put together a full striking performance? That being said, she moves amazing. Like her actual movement and athleticism is so good compared to how it used to be. Yeah, she's a night and day different fighter than when she took the break and versus when she came back. She looks phenomenal, right? The cardio's improved. Just generally knowing how to fight in small positions and when to use energy, when not to. I already put in a bet on Hardy, but here's the thing that I worry about. Horth is 5'7", which, you know, it's pretty undisputed at this point. That is the best height, male or female. That is, you know, it's the dominant height, right?
Yeah.
5'7". Okay.
Especially people who are 5'6" know that.
Yeah, all these midgets at 5'6", 5'5". What's
5'6" 3/4.
Fucking tiny. Anyways, she's big. She's a very big girl, and I like that she's just very fundamental, right? She doesn't move as much as Hardy, but she's fundamental. And the one thing that I worry about is kind of like what you're saying, is that she just plods forward and she presses and just does the basics, the things that work, just simplicity. Versus Hardy maybe making herself tired, moving so much.
She didn't show any cardio issues in that.
She didn't,
fight.
But a lot of times it was Juliana Miller just falling on her back, and all she has to do is maintain top position. Moving that much and zipping in and out like a karate style for 15 minutes sounds a lot more daunting of a task than just walking forward, throwing jabs and low kicks, and winning the fight that way. That being said, I do like the athleticism, and I do like the things that she showed. And I think she's going to look to have bigger moments as she blitzes in. She throws really nice leg kicks and has good timing on it.
She has a beautiful blitz, like 1-2 as well.
That's what I'm saying.
She knifes those punches in
there.
Yeah.
That's almost just what I'm worried about, is that Horth just kind of wears her down. But, you know, you look at the two, I imagine the UFC would rather Hardy get the W here. She's a little more marketable. I'm not saying anything, but she's got gorgeous eyes.
The other thing is that Horth isn't some amazing finisher. She doesn't have this amazing power in her hands. It's not like she has some amazing submission game. She's got to wear on Hardy and grind on her, where it's not like, oh, if she gets a takedown, she can jump on her back and finish her. So then it just comes really down to volume with women's MMA. If no one's going to finish anyone, who is doing more? And I think that check mark is a big check mark going to Hardy.
For Hardy. Yeah. Jamie's finishing ability is pretty horthable. So, I got Hardy. All right, let's move on.
All right, moving on to the love of your life, Wellington Turman, fighting Jared Gooden.
Good God.
At 170.
I mean, need I say more? It's funny. I was doing the week of the fight. I was doing like a bunch of podcasts, which were good podcasts, by the way. Go check out JX Soto. I don't know how he wants to be pronounced his name, but he does all the podcasts for Sugar Sean and for Tim Welch and everybody. Is super cool. Good podcasts, most views, viral, sweet. But I didn't really tell like the Wellington Turman story. Just like loaded up a bunch of cash and was ready to bet it on him, and someone convinced me otherwise, and I ended up losing like $15,000 when I just wanted to bet on Turman. All right, well, we got this fight. You want me to go first in this one?
Yeah, go first.
I can see how this can go horribly bad for Wellington Turman, this fight, but also Jared Gooden is 1-4 in the UFC. He's just so gun shy, but this is a very tough fight for me because Turman looked horrible in the Misha Cirkunov fight, right? When he couldn't get what he needed to work, he completely gassed out, got really lucky to hit that armbar. Most other people he's not doing that with. Jared Gooden has really, really heavy hips, a good sprawl.
And actually good jiu-jitsu too.
Pretty good jiu-jitsu. And so, I mean, it depends on the game plan that Turman comes in with. That being said, Turman doesn't even have a great chin either. So I like his volume and I like his actual offensive striking. He throws, fills the space, good leg kicks. He's a tough dude. He's willing to throw down. I would give him the grappling upside if it gets there, but I don't know that he's going to be able to take Gooden down. For me, this fight literally comes down to how much volume is Gooden willing to throw out. If you promise me like Gooden is gonna swing on him, I'm taking Gooden all day. I think those heavy hips, he's going to run into, Turman runs into this fire hydrant of a man and Gooden swings big power back. He's probably going to chin Turman. But if you get a low volume, just sparring match, that kind of affair, then I think Turman's going to out volume him, out pressure him, maybe feint a takedown, come back up, start swinging. then I'm taking Turman. So for me, the money line is pretty wide on Turman. I think he wins the fight, but it's a steep price for me to pay in a fight that I can just easily see going horribly, horribly wrong for the guy.
So I disagree with you on the way the fight goes out. I think that Turman doesn't do a lot, and I think that a lot, like we saw him in his fight with Randy Brown, who was really tall.
A lot is relative. A lot compared to Jared Gooden is what I mean.
Yeah, but he doesn't go first and he waits. And the thing with Jared Gooden is he really has good head movement and flow. He has those low hands, which stops the takedown, almost Bobby Greenish kind of in his style and stance and everything like that. And, you know, Bobby Green is Bobby Green. But Turman is like high guard, kind of waits, but Turman wants you to go first so he can counter. And like I talked about it with the Charles Johnson fight, where Charles Johnson is so good, but he waits for people to go and he's looking for that check hook versus creating the check hook. And I think Gooden is very similar to that, where he waits and waits and waits. And we've seen him with Abu Nurmagomedov, and we've seen him with a few fights get beat by people who are just willing to go first. But Turman is not that guy. Turman wants to go second. And I think with Gooden feinting and drawing him in and going, I think you get almost that sparring match style.
So we're looking at overs here.
I think we're looking at overs. And I think Wellington's chin and just body is almost a little too big frame for 170. I think he's a little frail. He's had chin issues in the past. I think Gooden's hips are really good and he defends takedowns well. And he knows if he does get taken down, he knows how to get back up. I actually really liked when Harrison, whatever, took him down, and he knew that anaconda and Darce was his bread and butter, and he stayed on his back and he did the right thing. And he didn't win the fight, and there was a lot that he did wrong, but he knew not to give up that choke.
And in hindsight, him choking out Jeremiah Wells, super, super impressive.
Right?
Yeah.
So I like Gooden here for the upset. I think his movement is going to be hard. If Wellington just goes in there swinging, guns blazing, well, then I think he's going to gas because he doesn't have the greatest cardio.
And Gooden's got he's just like a brick of a man.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like a Gleison Tebow.
Yes. Just this weird, crazy broad neck.
Kind of does everything well, but just won't go win it. Won't go do it.
Yeah.
I'm switching mine to Gooden too.
Against the A side, Gooden is going to lose most of those fights to the A side because they know to take the fight to Gooden. Whereas Turman, I feel like he is going to wait too much and allow Gooden to get that rhythm because he really does have good head movement and feints and flow. And when he starts picking up that pace and he's not afraid, he hits hard too. So
yeah, I'm going to switch mine to Jared Gooden. I think he's going to be pretty determined in this fight. We'll be here all week, folks.
Next up, we have Ihor Poitiera. I don't even know. We've been Ihor-ing it for a while against Adolfo Bellato. And Ihor, he's a gym whore. We kind of see him.
He's a what?
A gym whore. He was at ATT for a while. Then he was at Bang Tao.
I just dated one of those, so explain.
He's kind of jumping all around. And with that, you kind of wonder, who is holding him accountable? What is he learning? Is he just kind of doing stuff? Or you don't want to jump from gym to gym to gym, even if it's not the best spot. You have to get into a flow, get into a rhythm with stuff. And Ihor, for as hard as we are on him quite a bit, we're kind of brutal, but he's fast, he's athletic, and he actually doesn't do a lot of stuff horribly. He just seems like he's kind of a much, I think I want to say better Cody Brundage in the fact that Brundage wants to get out of a fight. He wants to go in there and fight and get out of there as fast as possible.
Cody Brundage, friend of the show.
And I feel like Ihor is that way as well. I think he wants to get in there and he wants to fight, but then when he's in there, he's like, oh my God, I don't actually want to be in here. And we saw that with, in his last fight, just shooting desperation shots. I mean, it's just, he beat Shogun, who's been chinned. And Ihor's fast and he's going to come out guns blazing. But then you have Bellato, whose only two losses are to Vitor Petrino. And in that Petrino fight, he looked good. They got tired. Both of them got tired. Don't get me wrong. But Petrino was swinging and he was shelling up high. I don't like in the fight before that. I think it was a Petrino fight where he was shooting, pulling guard. but I don't think he's going to do that against Ihor.
I don't think he'll need to.
I don't think he needs to. I think he's going to do most of the right stuff. And as long as he doesn't get clipped in the first couple of minutes, I think this is absolutely, is it Bellato? Yeah, Bellato. I want to make sure I'm not butchering his name. I think Bellato wins this by being patient, doing the right stuff, and finding Ihor's chin to where Ihor panics.
I think he'll probably submit him, take him down, be top grappler.
I could see him dropping him and then jumping on him and kind of TKOing him, or jumping on him and submitting him. I don't think he's going to be a clean
Or
knockout.
He could even take him to decision. Who knows?
That would never happen.
Henry's breakdowns, Cejudo. Yeah, he could win by sub, knockout. Honestly, I could even see this by decision as well.
And for the other guy, too.
And for the other guy as well.
What do you got here?
I'm with you. I think the Ihor fid keeps on rolling. I mean, the price is a bit steep. So honestly, I think you take Bellato inside the distance. I can't see Ihor going the distance. Just got chinned by Olberg. By the way, that fight with, what's his name? The freaking Romanian guy.
Negamoranu.
Yeah. That was a sick fight. Yeah. Negamoranu, he gets me charged up. The dude gets me going. Just doesn't care. Eats him on the chin and just keeps marching forward. Love it. Yeah, Bellato inside the distance.
Okay. Next up, we have Steve Garcia and Melquizal Costa.
They call him Melky, like the Milky Way, because his skin is.
What?
He's got
He's
a little bit of
just no.
Okay,
we'll just break it down.
All right, yeah, I like Melky. I think he's got a lot of skills. He does everything well, nothing phenomenal, but his grappling, I think, is honestly really, really solid. Honestly, I think every Steve Garcia fight breaks down to this. You have one round of fury and hell, and after that, I think you're going to be okay. He gets chinned constantly, makes a lot of mistakes, but he's a lot to deal with for a while. I think you just got to take him down and just control him and hold him and just start moving for a minute. But I think Melky's going to do that in this fight. Honestly, it's Steve Garcia round one, chins him, or it's going to be a 15-minute, or I guess Melky can put together a better 15 minutes than Steve Garcia, in my opinion, just with the styles in which they fight, more solid fundamentals. So I have Melky in this fight.
Yeah, and the Costa, in his last fight with Lingo, we saw a million teep kicks to the body that really hurt him. He showed really good composure. In his debut, he went up a weight class short notice and fought Thiago Moises.
Looked great for a round and a half.
Yes, he looked really good for a little while. And then with Garcia, Garcia got rocked against Shimon
Nurdenbecki.
Shimon.
And Kraus Drowner.
Yes. And he looked good until, Shylon gassed out 3 minutes into that fight.
It's pretty insane because he's wrestled a high pace before.
And it was really, he dropped him, jumped on top, was just controlling him. It was nothing crazy. And then all of a sudden he got up and he was tired. So, and then I think that paved way for the Garcia comeback. But yeah, I think Costa does a lot of stuff well. I didn't like in his Itzel or Itala, whatever. He fought a guy a couple fights ago in LFA, and he was getting controlled on the cage and ended up on his bottom quite a bit, just on his back in the guard, and wasn't doing the stuff that I would like to see. And I think he's gotten better since then. I think he knows, okay, I can't, maybe that was a turning point. He's like, okay, I lost this fight because I stayed on my back. Since we've seen him in the UFC, I like what I see so far. And Garcia is such a boom or bust type of guy. Yeah, I'm going with Costa here.
More solid.
But I think the over is going to hit. I think it's going to be, I like Costa over 1.5.
Wow. That's a hot take.
Yeah. I like that.
I don't think Steve will let it go. I think he's like, no.
But I don't think Costa's some world beater finisher. And so because of that, I think that Costa is going to take his time, and I actually could even see it going to a decision.
I'm Team Brazil now, so whatever. All right.
That's true.
Move on.
Next up, who do we have? We've got Drakkar Klose and Joe Solecki.
All right. Are we talking about this one? We chit-chatting this one?
Yeah, Drakkar hasn't trained with us for years.
Yeah, but I saw him the other day.
Yeah.
So I don't want him to, I saw him. He didn't say a word to me. He watches all my stories. He sees everything. He didn't say one word to me. And I don't want it to be awkward if I keep going.
Hey, it's only awkward if you don't mention it. So mention it.
This is a tough fight. Drakkar's a little older now. He's had a lot of injury issues. They're having a baby, or they may have already had the baby. I'm not sure. I think Solecki is criminally underrated. I think his striking is not as bad as people think that it is, but his grappling is very good. He's a very good back taker. God, I just see an athleticism advantage and just kind of a dogfight advantage for Drakkar, but a technical and a process advantage for Solecki. So I think at plus money, Solecki's a pretty good play here. Just younger, upward trajectory. I think a lot less stuff in his life going on. Age is better, and just sound technical grappling. Even from the bottom, I think he can find sweeps, find his way to work up to the top and take his back. So I'm going to go Solecki here.
Man, I think Drakkar's going to beat the brakes off him.
Yeah, I could see that as an avenue as well.
He's just not overly... Solecki's not fast. He's not athletic. His wrestling is like drag you to the mat. It's not like some great blast double type stuff in control. Drakkar has been at it for a while. He's strong. He hits hard. He's durable as shit. I mean, he had Benny Dariush on his back for 5 minutes and defended that. And then
even wrestling Rafa Garcia too.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I think Solecki is, decent.
Too gentle.
Yeah. Well, and I think he slows down, and his striking after the first round is very not even rudimentary. It's like all of his power goes away on it. There's nothing to really worry about. I think Drakkar is just in his face, stops the shot, super strong. He's never had cardio issues. I think this is kind of an easy, maybe TKOs him or finds a kind of a 3-0 decision on him.
Okay, I'm flipping too because those were the two outcomes. Like a very slow, methodical fight. When has Drakkar ever been in a slow, methodical fight? Not really.
Yeah, I mean, well,
he stays in guys' face.
No, he has, but then he'll clinch with them, and he out clinch. He's always outworking the clinch position on the fence. He's going to control that. I don't see him being bullied on the fence. I think this is kind of a. Yeah, I think Solecki's got to have the night of his life, and Drakkar's got to have the worst weight cut experience. Something.
Everything has to go wrong.
Yeah. So I really like Drakkar here in this spot.
You got me. I'm flipping on this one too. I like Drakkar here.
All right. What do we got? Who's up? Who's up next? Zach Reese, Cody Brundage. So I'm up. I'm always really high on Cody Brundage.
Very. Friend of the show.
And, I'm always talking about how good he is and how much he likes to be in there and how much he likes to fight and all of the stuff and how just luck would have it that it doesn't go his way.
Okay. Banana peels everywhere.
And then you have Reese, who is tall and athletic looking and looks the part, and then might be the slowest, stiffest human I've ever seen in my life, with the most padded record I've ever seen, who got sneezed on and taken down in a fight, and then armbarred somebody with like...
That dude was a bowling ball. Come on.
Dude, I would bet the house on Cody Brundage if what I said earlier, he does not want to be in there. And so I'm like, man, I wish he would have a little bit more patience. Man, I think it's always a risk because Brundage, again, he goes full send. So I'm taking you out or you're taking me out. No, I'm taking you out or I'm finding my own way out. And I think I kind of like Brundage here to get the upset on a guy who has no takedown defense, who's super slow, who doesn't move at all. And he's good at jiu-jitsu, but Brundage is good at jiu-jitsu too. I kind of think Brundage is going to get an extra shot after that Malkoon.
He smoked Malkoon, by the way.
Yeah, that was utter domination.
If you bet Malkoon, give it up now.
Just be done with the podcast, be done with betting, be done with everything. That was 100% Cody Brundage.
By the way, I did actually, I picked Cody Brundage in the Malkoon fight.
Did you?
And I was the only one who got it right.
You did.
I said, no, this is what I said verbatim. I said, guys, I understand what the tape says. I get it. I understand. I said, I have a weird feeling something's going to happen in this fight and Cody Brundage is going to get his hand raised. I swear to God, that's what I said. And he got his hand raised.
Somehow. I like Brundage here for the crazy. I can't even fathom that I'm doing this, but I'm saying Brundage.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad I'm not the most insane because I was actually going to go the same exact way as well. The only thing is there's got to be something that people know about Reese that we don't know. Besides having just a very triggering last name for me. Hold on, we'll take a second, guys. All right. Besides having an insane last name, I think there's somebody in Texas.
Seems like a very reasonable last name to me.
Well, it makes me know I'm going to lose another 10,000 on it. That last name.
Don't bet on Reese.
Oh, good times. We like to have fun here. Okay. Anyways, somebody's got to know something in Texas. Somebody's got to know something. Mr. Eric Garcia, which, by the way, Eric Garcia, please give me a fight. We love Fury FC. Let's go. Somebody knows something at the gym, whether it's good or it's bad. But you're right. He just falls over. The thing that I like, though, is he does have good jiu-jitsu, and he's very calm. You look at his record and you look at, everybody he's beat, everybody really quickly. And usually you see those guys.
But those everybody really quickly are, I think one of them was like 1-14.
Well, this is what I'm saying is like those guys are horrible. So usually you try to fade that guy, but I'm like, he's not even fighting his style. He's not like Terrence McKinney, who he can't do this for 2 rounds or 3 rounds, especially. But he's very calm. Like he's not like.
I feel, and I'm going hard in the Brundage paint here. I feel like the issue with Brundage is he gets scared that people are going to hurt him, and so then he panics. I feel like he could take Reese down at will,
dominate him,
and then just kind of stay there without having to do a lot, and then it's not scary for him.
Okay, this fight. Okay, this is what this reminds me of. I remember we've been doing this 2 years now, guys. By the way, 2 years. Put it in the comments. Woo, 2-year anniversary. That's awesome.
Why would you guys don't have to actually put that?
No,
in
do that.
The comments.
If you're a fan of the show, it is what it is. But it reminds me of like Jason Witt. We'd always make a case for Jason Witt. Like Jason Witt is a better wrestler. He's good on top. He's got heavy hands. And then somehow every single fight he would find a way to lose. And I can see this fight going exactly the same way. Is like, no. Cody's going to take him down. Cody's got decent enough striking to hang with him on the feet. He's not getting out physical. Like I can see him winning this fight. And then eventually they're going to get up, or ref stands him up.
Witt and Brundage going to Brundage.
Yeah, the ref's going to stand him up for inactivity, and then Reese comes and fucking knocks his block off.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's
and Brundage goes to
plausible.
Jail. Brundage. There's domestic abuse charges going around. So anyways, I think Reese is probably going to end up finding a way to win, even though, like, I'm with you. I want to choose
fight, not in the court of law.
Not in the court of law, because it's all lies. I want to choose Brundage so bad here. I really do, because I really think he's got a good shot of winning this fight. But man,
I'm Team Cody.
It's a Reese thing,
All right.
Enough talking shit for me for a while.
Miesha Tate, Julia Avila. I didn't tape this one because. So actually, Rusty on the Discord was asking, like, whoa, I can't believe you did, because the first early bet that I put out was Jamie Lynn Horth and then Hardy. And that interests me because I actually think that these people are here. There's upside, this and that. Miesha Tate, with her being off as long as she was, like, I just don't have, there's nothing in it for me to tape that. And the reason I say this, there's so many variables in fights anyway. Right. We know that. And then you get these like people who are retired and then they come back and then you're like, do they actually want to fight? Do they not? What are they doing? And that's one less variable that I want to have to decide when people are fighting. And it just, I don't care who wins or loses that fight. It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't know why Miesha is coming back after all of this time. She is.
But ask the same thing about Avila.
Oh, see, I don't even know. So I don't know. I had no interest in this. I'm not wasting my time on a fight I don't have interest in. So give us your thoughts on that if you have any.
Yeah, I'm actually the most interested in this fight. I think this is probably one of my favorite spots on the card. Avila 9-2, and she hasn't fought in 2.5 years, and she beat Yulia Stoliarenko. That was Yulia Stoliarenko before she would run or not eat, whatever they eat in Lithuania all day. Lost to Sujara Eubanks, beat Gina Mazzani. Penny Kinzat, yeah, she had some good wins before the break, but she had a kid. She's chilling, training. Her post was insane. When you were gone, we did the podcast with Evan, which, by the way, Evan's birthday yesterday. Old ass man, 35.
Happy birthday, Evan.
Happy birthday, Ev.
Only old people live to 35.
That's right. Yeah, live fast, die young, baby. And I was laughing because this girl posted this clip. This was this like Brazilian girl. She posted this clip. It was hilarious. And she put a caption like, "Only the eagle soars and then I bite." And then the clip was her missing a punch and the girl throwing back and also missing the punch. And nobody landed a shot. And it was like, she cut that up and was like, "I'm fucking ready." And I'm like, this is insane shit to post. Like, this is clear mental illness. And Julia Avila posted something like her last post was like, "It only gets easier when you're in a room full of killers." And I swear to God, not one person has a record, an MMA record in the entire photo. It's literally like soccer moms, like kids. It's like crazy. This is a crazy photo. And she posted that and was like, "Room full of killers." And I'm just like, did you leave the room? Like, what room are you talking about? This is insane. And so I'm looking at this going like, she's trying to make it make sense in her head. And like it or not, Miesha Tate was champion in the UFC. Like it or not, she is not very good, and she always found a way to win. And she literally choked out Holly Holm, who's a much better athlete, much better fighter, and won a world title. That's crazy. It's like, it kind of reminds me of like Aljo.
Her jiu-jitsu is good.
It's fine.
Yeah, it is very Aljoist.
Like how she finds ways to win. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. And, it's funny, as I saw her do a seminar, and somebody that I know, and she like used her as the uki, she's showing this thing, and it basically just like a big tit choke, like literally just, all right, guys, bicep on this side, giant fake tits on the other side, and that's how you put them to sleep. And I'm cracking up, like literally that's what.
Where do we get implants? We just start choking everyone out.
Hilarious. I'm like, all right. I heard from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that, which my friend of the show, always watches.
Friend of the show, if we could get him back on to edit the subtitles and all. Yeah, anyway, friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said Miesha is like one of the strongest humans ever. So unbelievably strong, and her grappling is very, very solid. Why Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is at Extreme Couture wrestling with, I don't get it. Don't ask me questions.
Don't ask questions.
But I think Miesha Tate is going to smoke her. She is a former champion. Striking is not as bad as I remember it being. And I think that she's going to feel much better at this weight class, moving back up. Doesn't have to spend her entire camp like literally not eating and just running nonstop, right? Can actually train, can actually feel good, normal weight cut. And then I'm going to give a grappling advantage to Miesha, especially at this stage in their career. Avila's got gray hair all of a sudden, room full of killers. Give me Miesha Tate.
There you have it, folks. Miesha Tate. Joaquin Silva, Clay Guida. I feel like I used to be like more critical of Joaquin because of his cardio, kind of guns blazing, cardio, death gas. He's fixed a lot of that. I like him.
He's on the new subs.
Huh? What?
Yeah, Brazil.
He's a little bit more measured. His striking is great. His takedown defense, we saw him even against Tsarukyan, defending, belly down, whizzering, got back up a little bit, didn't completely blow his load out, and took that fight on short notice. Hit him with a good left hook. His switch knees are great. And with Guida, who bobs his head and reaches so much, if you just throw enough switch knees up the middle, you're going to find Guida's head at some point. And Guida is not the pace that he used to be. He moves a lot, but he's not moving forward and grabbing you and out wrestling people a lot the way that he is. He's older. He's 41. His chin has been tested. I really like Joaquin here quite a bit. And I could see him finishing Guida or just dominating for 3 rounds.
Wow. I actually watched tape and I got back from this complete opposite. I thought like this fight could play out a lot closer than the line would indicate. I could see Guida winning. And the reason that I say that, a few things. One, he threw down with Tsarukyan quite a bit, but that Tsarukyan fight was not as close as I remember watching it live. Right. He rocked him in that second round and wobbled him. And he did kind of defend that takedown with the whizzer and belly down. But then Tsarukyan just lifted his leg and then he was on his back. And then every time he would take him down after that, he was just on his back. Like that was just it.
Well, but he was trying to get back up. Remember, he took that fight on short notice, on like a week notice or something like that.
Yeah. But in my mind, I was like, man, this was a crazy competitive fight. He almost got him out of there. He was standing back up and Tsarukyan couldn't take him down, but it wasn't really like that. Anytime Tsarukyan wanted to wrestle him, he just did. Now, to compare Tsarukyan and Guida as wrestlers is, come on, it's not even close. But that being said, the one thing that I think Guida has for him that Tsarukyan doesn't is that awkward movement. We always say a lot, it's a lot easier to fight somebody who's, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, why do we spend time getting technical and trying to be perfect if it's easier to fight somebody who's technically sound and perfect versus somebody who's really unorthodox? It doesn't make sense. Like, we should be training to do Dominic Cruz type stuff. I don't know. But Guida's weird bounce and movement and the way that he fills the space is super interesting to me. Like, he's always throwing punches, and I noticed that is like he'll throw a double jab and then do the weird bounce, and he's coming over and constantly filling the space. And one thing that I actually did like about Guida is that he's constantly got his hands up too. He's kind of shifted into this more like boxing style, but making sure he's being responsible with his hands. A lot of people are saying Guida's done, but going 3 hard rounds with Garcia is, he could have found a way out. He could have Brundage did at a certain point and just been like, all right, I'm cool off this. He is still fighting. He is still in there. And Joaquin Silva constantly plays off the back foot. If you notice, even in the Jesse Ronson fight, Jesse Ronson is Jesse Ronson. He almost took a round off him until he got clipped at the very, very end of the round. I think Guida's chin is probably a lot better than Jesse Ronson. I think he's going to back up Joaquin Silva. I think he's going to fill the space with more volume. And if there is grappling, I think he can take Joaquin Silva down and maybe control top time. For all of those reasons, this made me feel like the fight going to play out a lot closer than it would in your mind. In your mind, you're thinking, man, he looks so good against Tsarukyan. He's just going to go in and knock out Clay Guida. But there's just a lot of those factors that I don't like. So for me personally, I think I'm going to pass on this fight, or I'd play it one of two ways. Joaquin finish only, or Guida decision only. And I think that will cover both your bases, because I can see Guida filling up a lot more space, working in the wrestling, letting him back up, filling that volume and wearing him out. And Joaquin just getting out volumed. That's how I could see this fight playing out. So I'm going to go Guida.
Very well. Very well. Now, Puna Soriano and Dustin Stoltzfus.
Good God.
Who are you going with that?
Okay.
185.
Jesus Christ. I mean, this is Puna all day, every day, twice on Sundays. Puna, friend of the show as well. Friend of the show.
I'm actually shocked that the line isn't
minus
further.
500. Yeah. I can't believe it.
I'll tell you why the line is what it is. Why I think it's the cardio. The cardio of Puna, he fades out. He tires. So I'm assuming that's why the line is the way that it is. But he's fighting guys like Brendan Allen and Kopylov who are ripping body shots for 15 minutes straight. That's not Stoltzfus. So.
No, I mean, he's technically fine, but he's a bit of a weenie. And I think he's one of the worst guys on the roster. Puna is a big power puncher. Even the Maximov fight was kind of impressive. Like, for a guy with cardio issues, he was still doing a lot of the right. He just was like a split second from winning that fight at multiple different times. But he fought hard through and through. So I mean, I don't think Stoltzfus can put a pace on him like Maximov, and he's not that annoying, crazy style like Maximov. His striking, he just got chinned in 12 seconds. Like,
well, he's 1-3 or 1-4 in the UFC with his win being over Dwight Grant.
I can't believe that he's still in the UFC. Puna all day.
This is a tee up for Puna.
Yeah, come on.
Puna is one of the few people in MMA in the UFC who punch like a boxer. Everything is going into each of those punches, and he's ripping it back. He's a southpaw. He actually, you'll see on the broadcast, they talk about Dominic Cruz was saying, his favorite combination is a 3-2, but it's not even necessarily a 3. It's a lead hand. Sometimes it's a jab. Sometimes it's a hook. Sometimes he'll just like touch it, kind of flick it out there. But he doesn't fire his punches like a punch. He touches with his lead hand, whether it's a hook or a jab, dips, and then he loads off of that.
It's great, and he catches it all the time.
Yes, and that dip really allows him to get his opponents. They know the 2 is coming, but they see that dip right before it, and so it creates a reaction. I like Puna here. I mean, if he tries to kill him and gasses himself out, I could see some live weird stuff going on. Like maybe I'm trying to stretch. Other than him just completely gassing out, which I think if he does gas himself out, Stoltzfus is dead. So yeah, I like Puna here bigly.
Yeah. I think we're getting another crazy celebration.
Yep. Puna's they're teeing one up for him. They want him to win.
Hometown boy.
We've got 2 in a row that we're not going to talk about. Sean Brady and Kelvin Gastelum, Rob Font and Davison Figueiredo. I'll be down there with those guys this week.
Do you have any comments on them? Just anything like camp good? They got good haircuts, whatever.
I think Skinny Kelvin, I've actually been looking at him as he loses weight. And I'm like, gosh, he looks so much like Hasprat.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's insane. And I'm looking, I'm like, wow. That's the only comment I have.
That's the fight to make.
That's the fight to make. Oh my gosh. Kelvin and Hasprat at 170. I won't know who is who. They could actually walk in the opposite corners mid-fight, and I'll be giving Hasprat like coaching tips. Hey, he's dropping the left hand. Do that. I wouldn't even know what to do. I couldn't even tell him apart.
The only way you'll be able to know is when you keep calling him Aspirat, and he's like, "What the fuck you saying to me?"
Yeah. What is going on here?
What's my name?
So anyway, that's it.
Say Nasrat Akbras 17 times. Aspirat Akbarak.
We got Jalen Turner and Bobby Green, and this is a short notice fight. Bobby Green, who is Bobby supposed to fight?
Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker. And Jalen Turner stepped in to take it. Turner had a war with Hooker, and that was wild. That was one of the craziest fights I've seen in a minute. That was great. He's taken 4 or 5 months off after that war. I'm glad to see him taking some time off. I like Turner here. And people have a hard time with Bobby when they press Bobby and he counters and moves and does all this stuff. But Jalen is so long so that even if he's pressing Bobby, he doesn't have to force himself on Bobby because that's not allowed. You don't want to force yourself on anyone else. So he can touch and pull and draw him in and use those, long teeps from far away, that jab from far away. If I think Bobby's the one that's going to have to close the distance, that's going to be really hard for him with the range. If he does close the distance, Jalen loves those knees. And if he does start wrestling, which we rarely see Bobby do, Jalen likes those front chokes and everything. I like Jalen here. I don't know if I like a finish or not because I could see Bobby staying on the outside and it actually being kind of a boring fight because he doesn't know how to engage the way that he thinks he wants to engage. And so then I see it, I could see it being not a lot happening. But I like Turner here. I like his range. I like his reach. I like his age. I like a lot of how he fights, the knees up the middle. He knows how to fight long. That's it.
Okay. All right. This is thinking about the range and the reach, kind of like you're saying. So I just fought a 6'1" flyweight. And I remember the one thing, I'm not very good at like offensive striking, but my distance is very good. I manage distance really well. And I remember I blasted him with a leg kick. And then I saw he was going to check the leg kick. So I feinted like I was going to throw it, saw him check. And then I start laughing at him because I was like, look, I got the reaction that I wanted. And I put my hands down and he started swinging on me. And the punch went 2 punches really close to my face. And I was just thinking like, most other people that I spar with, those don't get anywhere close to me. I'm so far away from those. But I'm like, man, like I can't be doing that now. I need to keep my hands up because this guy's 6'1" and those punches are right here. And I'm so used to like exiting hands down because I understand the range and the distance. And I feel like with Bobby, it's kind of the same thing. He's not used to fighting guys who are 6'3", right? Usually he's bobbying and weaving and stuff like that. And
he's here all week, guys. All week.
Yeah, but this fight's going to give Jalen Turner the green light to swing on him. No, but really the range is just going to be so different. He's used to fighting guys that are so much smaller, and that hands down style works. But Jalen's got weird power and a weird body structure where he hurts guys.
Fighting really tall people is hard because you don't know how long they are
until you're getting hit.
Yes,
with it. Yes,
and you spar them the second time, you fight them the second time, you get the range, you get it. But that first time you think you're out of range and then you're not.
Well, and that's not the way to fight Jalen Turner, right? The way to fight him is engaging forward, like a Vicente Luque. You're going to eat a couple coming in and then you start working the body and you're crashing the pocket and coming in close, where Bobby just skirts the outside. Now you're in Jalen's world where he's got a full repertoire. Even Dan Hooker was pressing him and beating his ass, and that's how he ended up winning the fight. I don't love that Jalen's short notice. He's such a massive 55er. We're going to see if he can make the weight.
I think he can make the weight. And the reason is everyone on the planet wanted this fight with Bobby Green. Everybody on the roster,
he had to guarantee that I got it.
Yeah, and he got it. So this wasn't like they couldn't find anyone else and, hey, you're not going to fight. This is like, he over here, pick me, I want this. And he must have given a good case for it.
Yeah, all right. A little black on black. But I think I like Jalen here. Yeah, I like...
Finish or distance?
God, I'm not really sure. Probably a finish, honestly.
I could see it. Yeah, I don't know if I would touch a finish or not, because if they really start fighting, I think Turner gets the finish. But if they stay on the outside and shadow box, then
just make it too tough.
Pick them apart. And
did you watch any boxing this weekend?
I didn't. I just ate turkey and then Comed.
This guy Subio Matias, fucking unbelievable. He fought this guy from like Uzbekistan or something. Looked like the best boxer I've ever seen in my life. Like round one, you're like, oh, this guy is like such a perfect boxer. I've never seen anything like this, like the speed, the power. He doesn't even turn his hips when he throws. Like every punch was from here, but it was so perfect that this guy couldn't hit him. And I'm watching this, and I had thousands on Subio. And the dude just hands up and starts walking him down, and then just starts crashing that pocket, wearing him down. He fucked that guy up. It was a crazy performance. Like I just am obsessed with boxing. It was so cool. And then what was the main event? Benavidez. Who our boy, boy Eric trains with, just looked phenomenal. I mean, he looks so good. Can't wait for the Canelo fight if it happens.
I hope it does. Let's finish up our main event here. Subscribe, like, all that good shit. Do it. Benny Dariush and Arman Tsarukyan. Who you got?
This is a tough fight for me. I really just don't know which way to go. I think eventually Arman's going to get him down, and he's going to control top and pace him like that. Benny in years past, I feel like, has looked really slow and really old. And then all of a sudden the Gamrot fight, he just come out, look world beater and looks amazing. I played Arman at plus 100 on the DraftKings opener. I'm happy with that position. I'm not going to add any more. Minus 275. I think it's a way closer fight than that line indicates. But Tsarukyan, I mean, he's just born and bred for this. He doesn't need to do this. His family's got infinite wealth. He doesn't need to fight. He's here because he wants to. Every great trainer, everything. I mean, the guy is just born and bred to do this. I guess I can't break down exactly technically how he's going to win this, because Benny's striking is good and he's super game. I imagine that it's going to be just a lot of mixing in the wrestling, right? Getting top time, trying to control that way. But Benny's jiu-jitsu is so good. This is a very close fight to me. I have Arman because I'm already on the Arman side, but maybe you can offer more kind of a technical breakdown.
I originally, was like, oh yeah, this is an Arman fight. It's Arman, And then I'm looking at Arman, and he is 7-2 in the UFC. Oliver Aubin-Mercier, who we just saw win the PFL title, decision. Davy Ramos, decision. Matt Frivola, decision. Christos Giagos, left hook. Joel Alvarez, ground and pound. Gamrot lost a decision. Ismagulov, decision. And then, of course, Joaquim Silva on short notice, ground and pound round 3. And where I'm going with that is Arman's ground and pound is his biggest finishing weapon. He doesn't have great jiu-jitsu. And
you really don't think so?
Like submission stuff. I don't mean like grappling and control.
Okay.
I mean like jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Like he's not throwing an armbar in an omoplata and hitting a ninja choke. Like he's not submitting guys unless they're like beaten up and worn out. And
anti-grappling. I understand.
Yeah. His striking looked decent against Mateus Gamrot, who's not a great striker. And then you look at him in that Joaquim Silva fight, it wasn't a knee that hit him. It was a left hook. And he was kicking on the outside, and his hands didn't look bad, but they weren't comfortable. Like if that was just a stand-up fight, Joaquim Silva is winning that 10 out of 10.
He's just so short. He's literally my height fighting 55, which is insane.
Yes, he's 5'7". His hands are decent, and he has good power, and he has good explosiveness, but they're not amazing. And then you have Benny Dariush, who's 5'10", 5'11", who's a southpaw, who has, a lot of KO finishes, elbows, spinning back fists, punches. He knows to use that left middle kick again and again and again against an orthodox fighter. And then you look at him in his last fight, or not his last fight, 2 fights ago against Mateus. Man, he is grabbing and rolling and fighting the hands and getting back up. And Mateus never really had the ability to control him. And I think Arman is going to get takedowns. Don't get me wrong. But I think Benny is going to get back up and do all of the right stuff to get back up. And I think more of the fight than not is going to be in the clinch, in these transitions, standing. And then you just have to go like, can he clock out 5-minute rounds against somebody? And he may very well do it. My actually worry about Benny on the other side is he's never fought a main event. He's never fought 5 rounds. I don't think so. I went through and I was trying to see, maybe I'm wrong. If I am, correct me, you guys. But I went through his last 5 or 6 fights, and I think I'm correct that he has not even fought a 5-round fight, not only like finished it early. So I don't know if he's ever trained for 5 rounds. Now, there's nothing that tells me that he wouldn't be ready for 5 rounds. He's never had cardio issues before or anything like that. But without that, that's always a thing. But then it really is, okay, this is going 25 minutes. And if you say, who's going to win a fight if you give Benny 25 minutes to try, or who's going to win a fight if you give Arman 25 minutes to try? And I think the Arman route is points.
I feel the way about this fight as I did with the Benny and Charles Oliveira fight. Remember, we were so back and forth, and for a long time, I was like, oh, Benny's going to kill Charles. Like, this won't even be a close fight. He's going to take him down and grind him out. Benny's path in that fight was a really, really tough wrestling path for 15 minutes, and he was really going to have to be perfect, where Charles would get up one time.
Yeah.
That would be it. And now I'm feeling the opposite in this fight, kind of like what you're saying. Arman's going to have to really grind out a 25-minute beautiful performance versus Benny, who's just game, and you're like, at any time, he could just, this could be it.
Yep. On the other side of that, I'm playing devil's advocate here because I want to, give the full picture. Benny's 22-5. All right. He lost to Alex Hernandez, Edson Barbosa. And he lost to Chiesa, he lost to Oliveira. He has a hard time with fast, dynamic people, and that is Arman Tsarukyan. Like, he is really fast
and handsome.
So super handsome and rich.
Damn.
So it makes me think, like, all right, if Arman can starch him early, then I see this going that way. Otherwise, I think people are sleeping on Benny a little bit. I think he's better than people think. He was the guy who was going to get the title fight until, he was the guy. I think he fought Gamrot, beat Holtzman, beat Drakkar, beat Drew Dober and Thiago Moises, lost to Hernandez, lost to Oliveira. And then Arman, I'm pulling up.
I was going to say, one of those resumes is not like the other one.
Well, on the other side, you have Joaquim Silva. Demir is legitimately good, but we've seen that he's got some holes in his game after the last couple, if you can out-wrestle him. Alvarez, Giagos, Matt Favola, and he beat Davy Ramos, Oliver Aubin Mercier, and lost to Islam Makhachev.
All of those are really amazing wins. Those
are really good, amazing wins. I think the most impressive I've ever been of him was his loss to Islam.
Yeah.
I thought he looked phenomenal in that. But again, Benny's ability to defend the wrestling and roll and scramble with Mateus gives me a lot of hope for him here in Arman. And I know Arman's the guy. He's the guy. But I don't know that if he's not finishing Benny, I think I like Benny in this.
Damn. Well, I like Benny as a human. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And Arman's kind of a dickhead. So I theoretically want Benny, but my wallet says I need Arman.
You got to go with your money. You always bet with your wallet.
Money. All right.
Vote with your wallet, bet with your wallet, always. Well, there you have it, guys. That is a show. We will get this up fast, and we'll see you later. Happy betting.